out, and then they'll get into this orbit where you can see you don't really see them. But look at all those satellites, and that's why you have such fast internet now when you go to rural areas. I mean, a lot of astronomers hate this because if you take nighttime pictures, it's hard not to take a picture now without getting these satellites in your frame. Even when I've done some telescope astrophotography, if I'm watching it in real time, I can see a Starlink pass by every couple of minutes. That's how frequent they go by.
It's a little staggering and a little jarring just to see it displayed like that, just how many there are all over the place. And thank goodness they're able to deflect the panels and make sure that we're not seeing them all the time, because that really would be a lot of pollution of light, at least, in the sky. It's already very unnatural when you see one. You wouldn't want to see that every single night with so many of them up there. But kind of amazing what's become of the night sky now. Wow.
Yeah. It's and they're in very low Earth orbit. These are about the lowest orbit you could have a satellite, so they tend to degrade. And when we see space junk, it's usually one of these satellites that is coming back down to Earth. Real quickly, Tim, before we run out of time, let's talk about Christmas, because now we're definitely in that window, in that 8-9 day window, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. It certainly looks like things are trending a little warmer than even we saw yesterday. And there's an outside chance, I think some of our southern counties on Christmas Eve could be close to 70 degrees. That's the kind of warmth we're talking about.
Yeah, a lot different than now. It's definitely trending toward warmth and away from, there's not really chill to be found, at least not here. So I think you're right that going toward Christmas Eve, we can say probably with some certainty that we're likely to be pretty dry both of those days, and likely to probably be at or certainly above average would both be more likely than not.
Yeah, if this was summer, we'd probably call this a heat dome, because it's kind of what it looks like. And I was looking at some of the temperatures over Texas and Oklahoma. There's going to be some 80s there in the southern plains and in parts of Texas. So this, luckily we're not under that part, because that's a little ridiculous, 80s. But 70 in Charlotte, by the way, on Christmas Day, it's happened 6 times, which is more than it snowed. So it's not unheard of, but the average high is 53. So last year we were in the 50s. The last time we had a 70 was 2021, which was ironically the year before the deep freeze. So it's happened in the last 5 years. We've hit 70 on Christmas Day. And I don't think it'll happen on Christmas Day, but Christmas Eve, we might see Chester, Rock Hill, down that area might be pretty close in a few spots. I'm going 68 on Christmas Eve here, so I'm not going to be shocked to see that coming up next week. So we'll track that. Tim and I obviously will have updates on this. Stay tuned, because it's not set in stone yet. It's still 8 to 9 days out. Thanks for joining us tonight. Stick around. We've got more WCNC Plus coming up.
Welcome to Live Impact News. Julie Kay here. It is 7 o'clock in the Live Impact studio. We have a lot to get to tonight. It's me and James in here, but we're going to start out of Providence, Rhode Island, where the manhunt is still underway for the killer. Michael Yoshida is live for us there with the latest from law enforcement.
Right now, the manhunt continues for the person responsible for the deadly mass shooting here at Brown University. Investigators asking for patience, saying their investigation is progressing well. Still, though, a lot of anxiety as a growing memorial sits here on this campus. Many in this community awaiting answers and for the person responsible to be caught. The community around Brown University is reeling from the deadly mass shooting.
It was an awful scene. I mean, people were screaming, crying. Yeah, it's pretty anxiety-inducing, I would say, for sure.
Anxiety plaguing Providence, while authorities are still on the hunt for the shooter.
I feel like there's not necessarily a way to feel safe. I mean, you really never know what that person could still be here. That person could be in Florida by now. Like, you just never know.
Officials now pursuing a new lead based on these photos and videos of a person taken Saturday afternoon, hours before the attack. The FBI says the suspect is approximately 5'8" with a stocky build.
Close friends and relatives of this individual should be able to identify this person based on those characteristics, based on those traits there.
Authorities confident they'll be able to put together enough evidence to eventually charge someone in the case, even as fear remains.
Of course there's a threat. We have somebody who committed a double homicide and wounded 9 Brown students. We don't know where he is. We're working hard as heck to figure that out.
The 2 students killed being remembered on campus and by the president of Brown, who said in part, quote, "These were 2 young people whose amazing promise was extinguished too soon." And as this memorial grows, we are learning more about the victims. Freshman Muhammad Mirzakov, described as being kind, funny, and smart with dreams of becoming a neurosurgeon. Also sophomore Ella Clark, described as a grounded, faithful, bright light with a bold, brave, and kind heart. We also did get an update on the 9 others who were injured. 2 of them have been discharged now from the hospital. Investigators saying that they will be moving into new search areas beginning Wednesday as they expand their search outward from the university, looking for any sort of clue that could help lead them to the shooter. Reporting live in Providence, Rhode Island, I'm Michael Yoshida.
All right, Michael, thank you for that update. Of course, this is multiple days, as he said, into the search now and no suspect identified. But at the same time as this manhunt, the university is mourning the loss of 2 people, multiple others still recovering. Happening right now, just down the road from where Michael was, is a vigil for those students. We're going to listen in for a bit here. I see some of the choir walking in, but we're going to listen, see if there's any speakers, and just see how this community is mourning. So it does appear that there's no sound on this right now, and while we work to get this, we're going to have this in a box while we take you to that full press conference from earlier. Michael referenced that in his package, in his story, talking about these most recent updates from law enforcement officials. So we're going to take you to that to give you all the updates possible, and we'll keep that vigil on your screen so you can pay attention there as well.
Good evening. Providence Mayor Brett Smiley with another update today. In just a moment, Colonel Perez will give an update on the investigation, including video that was released. That video was released just a little while ago. If you were here and do not have that video, you can see Camille or Julie, and they can send that to you while we're reporting. Additionally, Camille and Julie are your contact to be on the press distribution list to be advised of future announcements. At this time, I'll introduce Providence Police Chief Colonel Oscar Perez.
Thank you, Mayor. And so as the Mayor stated, we're about to show you a video. If we can have the IT officer play.
police are getting set up here. This is, as I mentioned, the full press conference from earlier, and they're starting with this newly enhanced video of the suspected shooter that they are still working to identify. And this is really what they have been pushing out all day, essentially, trying to see if anyone recognizes this person at all. Their gait, their style of walking, a bit distinct, and that's really been the narrative around this. So they're continuing to show these images, and we'll pop in a moment here with an updated description of what they're looking for.
Thank you, Joe. So as the mayor stated, if you don't have these videos, please let us know. And the reason we have shown these videos, there's a purpose, right? So as you can see, they're enhanced photos, there's enhanced video footage, and so we're asking the public to ensure that they can see them. They can see here that you want to focus on the body movements, the way the person moved their arms, the body posture, the way they carry their weight. I think those are important movement patterns that may help you identify this individual, which is extremely important. Another thing that we're going to ask the public is if you have any type of camera system, including Teslas, in your property. And this video that you just saw behind me, it all comes from the residential block of Waterman Avenue, Power, Ives, and Hope Street. And it's those residential areas that we're asking the public to look, if you have any camera systems or any Teslas, like I mentioned, that you look at that footage and that you can reach out to us and please provide us anything that you have. And we're asking you to go back at least a week to do that. And the reason for that is because on Saturday night, the day of, we actually learned that this individual was in that neighborhood at around 10:30 in the morning. We also know in this profession that many criminals will case out an area weeks and days prior. And so it's important for us to ensure that we can have you look at that and help us. And the reason for that is because our offices, our agents, are looking at terabytes of data. And we're looking for a moment that is shorter than somebody taking a breath. It's incredible hard work to do that. And so we're asking the public to assist us with that. The other thing is the tip center. We have been receiving hundreds of tips. However, we're about close to 200 actionable tips that we're still conducting investigations on, which is incredible and is important. Again, keep in mind that this video footage is extremely important to us. And one more thing here, that as a reminder, please remember that the number that we need you to call is 401-272-3121, as well as the link that the FBI provided, which is fbi.gov, Brown University shooters. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Colonel. Now we'll hear from FBI Special Agent in Charge, Ted Dux.
No, thank you, Mayor, and good evening. My name is Ted Dux. I'm the Special Agent in Charge of FBI Boston. On the heels of this tragedy, the strength and resilience of the people of Providence is a powerful reminder of the bonds that unite us. The men and women of the FBI, along with the law enforcement team standing before you, carry the victims with us as we work around the clock to bring the individual responsible to justice. Today, the FBI is working with Brown University to do everything we can to provide services to those impacted by this horrific shooting. The FBI has almost 30 victim specialists, special agents, and analysts from all over the country who are here in Providence to support our survivors, the victims, and their loved ones. The FBI Victim Services Response Team is one of the many specialized FBI assets that have been deployed here to assist. The toll this type of tragedy takes on victims and their families is immeasurable, and we ask everyone to respect their privacy at this difficult time. Thank you.
Thank you, Special Agent. Next, Attorney General Peter Nerona.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have a lot to add other than that from my perspective. I think the investigation in a case like this, which is a challenging one, is going really well. On the third floor of this building, there are dozens of agents, detectives, led by Providence Police, prosecutors from my office, working to put together, and what you're seeing is just a portion of what they're working on right now. So they are literally, because I have seen at least part of it, the shift changes late at night. I think Rhode Islanders should take confidence in their work. They are veterans of what they do. They're smart, they're professional, and they're getting the resources from the mayor and the governor that they need, the state police as well, to get this job done, and I'm confident they're going to be able to do that. We just need a little bit of patience, as hard as it is to say that in this really horrible context. Thank you.
Thank you, General. Governor Dan McKee for an update now.
Thanks, Mayor. And right off the top, we're just making sure that the state is supporting Providence and Brown University, and then working with the FBI as well as our state police and the Attorney General to continue to provide information to the people in the state of Rhode Island. My information is that recently, today, we've met with all the university presidents in the state of Rhode Island. We know that we want to start a working group that will talk about enhancing the safety issues. And you'll see shortly that we'll be doing the same thing in terms of the mental health issues. And I think that's important as I'm out and about. We're hearing a great deal of anxiety coming from families and students and the general public. And that's one of the reasons why our state police has supported the Providence schools with presence as school begins and school ends, in support of the mayor and his efforts to support the schools.
Thank you, Governor. We're also joined tonight by Brown University President Christina Paxson.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to begin by thanking the many law enforcement agencies who continue to work around the clock on this case. It's very impressive. I also want to thank the mayor and the governor for their continued support. The primary point that I wanted to address before we get to questions is that Brown is deeply committed to the safety and security and well-being of our community. And I've been deeply saddened to see people questioning that. We understand that as time goes on, there is maybe a natural instinct to assign responsibility for a tragic event like this. Anxiety and fear is very natural, but the shooter is responsible. Horrific gun violence took the lives of these students and hospitalized others. And it's deeply sad and tragic that schools across the country are targets of violence. Brown is no exception. We are cooperating fully with law enforcement, and again, we thank the multiple agencies that have been working so hard day and night with increased patrols to keep our campus safe and to investigate this horrific shooting. Thank you.
Thank you, President Paxson. I'll give a couple updates on behalf of the city, and then we'll take your questions. First, as has been discussed many times, we continue to have enhanced police presence throughout the city of Providence to help bolster the confidence and provide a sense of additional security to our residents. Today, we were aided by neighboring municipalities in Central Falls and North Providence with supplemental officers. We're grateful to our neighbors for sticking up and standing up with Providence. The state police continues to be an incredible partner, and I thank the governor and Colonel Weaver for their partnership. Providence Public Schools remain in session. Friday is the last day of school before winter break. Spent some time at our schools again today. As has been the case in the past, the schools in the area of Brown are having regular police presence, and because of the assistance of the Rhode Island State Police, we've been able to provide additional police presence and coverage to other schools in Providence, and we thank them for that. When I was at one of our elementary schools this morning, the faculty were having a brief meeting before kids started to arrive, and in discussion with some of the teachers, I asked how they were doing, and one of the teachers said what I think a lot of us are feeling. She said, it's hard, but I'm putting on a good face for the kids. We need to be here for them. And I think that's how a lot of our residents feel right now, which is that we are taking very tentative steps forward, but we're doing it for one another. And so I do want to thank our educators at this time. They're being asked to go to school right now. Our principals are asked to be going to school right now for the sake of the families and the kids. And at that same school, there was a second grader literally skipping to the front door because he's a second grader, and he doesn't know everything that's going on in this scary world right now. And so the strength of the adults has allowed that little kid to skip to school this morning, and so I want to thank all of my fellow residents of Providence for putting on a strong face for the sake of others at this time. There were questions yesterday, and so I'll also just give a brief update on the health status of the survivors. If folks will recall, there had been 8 hospitalized. 1 has since been discharged. There had been 8 hospitalized. 1 has since been discharged. The 7 that remain in the hospital, 1 is in critical status, 5 in critical but stable status, although healthcare providers report that they are improving, and 1 in stable status. Those are the 7. 1 in critical, 5 in critical but stable, 1 in stable status, and 1 discharged since the last time we made comments about their safety and recovery from the podium. Now we'll open it up to questions.
We're going to jump in here and get back to those questions later and take a quick break, but know that we are not just watching this press conference and waiting for more updates from law enforcement, but as you see there, we still have that Brown University vigil at St. Stephen's that's happening live. So lots to get to. Stick with us. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Live Impact News here on WCNC Plus. As I mentioned earlier, we have this happening right now, this vigil for Brown University for those 2 that were killed and the multiple other injured that are still recovering. So we wanted to take you here for a bit to listen in and see what people have to say. Having a little bit of trouble with the audio there, so just give us one moment while we figure that out. Just wanted to walk you through some of the things that we do know so far. Of course, as I mentioned, 2 people have been killed, multiple others injured. Law enforcement say that multiple of those are still in critical conditions. That makes this vigil even more urgent. I believe we have that sound back, so let's try it again.
Reaching out. Continue to pray. Your prayers make a difference. Bear in mind that we pray with our eyes closed and our knees on benches. We pray in song and we pray in breath. we pray with our actions and our advocacy. Your prayers matter, but please also be part of the answer to these prayers by working for meaningful change. We continue to process this weekend, and we remember 1 year ago today, Abundant Life High School in Wisconsin. 13 years ago this week, we remember Newton. We remember Pulse Nightclub and Tree of Life Synagogue and Marjorie Stoneman Douglas and Uvalde Elementary and so many other communities rent asunder by gun violence. What compounds this tragedy is our collective unwillingness to make meaningful change in our gun laws. While we have moved the needle bit by bit each year in Rhode Island, and we are grateful for that, we see that we did not go far enough. At present, the right to bear arms eclipses the rights of people to worship, to learn, and to gather without fear of gun violence. If this causes you grief and outrage, take action. Continue to allow yourself to experience the fullness of your grief and your shock. It means you are alive. Blessed are we who allow our hearts to break, not to shatter, but to break open into another way of being, stretched beyond what might now seem possible. We cry, how long, O Lord, how long? And it will be some time for brittle unreality to release us back into the land of the living. We have seen and lost what we never should have lost. Blessed are we even in the moments when we are convinced, absolutely sure, that there is perhaps nothing untouched by the ashes of loss. How long, O Lord? How long? We pray for deliverance and mercy. May we work to make it manifest here on earth in this time. When we grow weary with tears and recalcitrance, wasted with grief, remember that God hears. May we also hear the voice of God. May we hear the pleas of the innocents for mercy and protection. Let your hearts be broken open. It does not have to be this way. Insist on change. Lives depend on it. Yes, offer thoughts and prayers, and then take action, lest we continue to meet in future vigils to mourn lives shattered in an instant. Speak out, show up, turn towards one another, not away from one another. Become a part of the solution, because together we build the safer future our communities deserve. Grieve together, love one another, show up for one another. We move forward together. In this season of peace, may the sentiment be made manifest in tangible ways. We make it so. God of our life, whose presence sustains us in every circumstance. As the sound of gunfire again echoes over a college campus, we seek the grounding power of your love and compassion. We open our hearts in anger, sorrow, and hope. For those who have been lost, brothers and sisters, neighbors and friends, your children, who sought to learn and grow together, whose lives have been cut off in the midst of new learning and hopeful growth. We pray for those who have been spared and those whose lives are changed forever, that they may find solace, sustenance, and strength in the hard days to come. We give thanks for first responders who ran toward gunfire rather than away, who dropped everything to save the wounded and to comfort survivors. We pray for doctors and nurses and mental health providers who repair what has been broken, who try to bring healing and hope in the face of the unchecked principalities of powers of violence. We pray for sustaining courage for those who are suffering and traumatized. Comfort now your people. We cry, how long, O Lord? We wonder, when will it be enough? We pray you will forgive our tolerance of cultures of violence and impel us by your Spirit to renew our commitment to work for an end to gun violence in our nation. In the wake of an event that should be impossible to contemplate, but which has become all too common in our experience. Open our eyes, break our hearts, and turn our hands to the movements of your Spirit, that our anger and sorrow may unite in service to build a reign of peace, where the lion and the lamb may dwell together, and terror no longer hold sway over our common life. In the name of the one who heals and who is our light, we pray. Amen.
All right, you were listening in to a vigil happening right now outside of Brown University for those two victims, and also with a sense of hope that the other victims here will hopefully pull through. We've got multiple other people recovering in a hospital right now. But again, manhunt is still underway for now 4 days for the person who did this. At the same time in Australia, at Bondi Beach, 15 people were killed and 25 people are still recovering after a shooting there. The investigation into that a little bit more clear, as it's a father-son duo that has been accused of this, the father having already been killed in the moment, the son in the hospital awaiting charges here. We want to get out to a funeral for one of those victims, for a rabbi that was killed. This is happening right now outside of Bondi Beach.
And it's unthinkable for me to have something, a crowd in a shul, and not to come to him and say, Eli, so what do you think about this or that? Everything we did together. The Shulchan Aruch tells us that it's forbidden to bring an aron, a coffin, into a synagogue and to hold a funeral in a synagogue. It gives two exceptions. One exception is a Gadol b'Yisrael, a great leader among the Jewish people, and a Kodesh, a holy martyr, who gave his life al Kiddush Hashem, sanctifying Hashem's name. Eli, there's no question that you are both. Yavod Yisrael, the Pasuk says to us, King David cried in a time of sorrow, Eli, Eli, lama azavtani. Hashem, why did you forsake me? I tell you, Eli, lama azavtani. Eli, you're a Lubavitcher Chassid, and you want everything to be done according to Lubavitch customs. And we know that in Lubavitch generally there's no eulogies. That doesn't apply here. There's no eulogies because we are afraid we might say something extra. We may bring upon the person dinim, judgments, because he was somehow eulogized in an exaggerated manner. Eli, it doesn't apply to you. Firstly, because a Kodesh, a holy martyr, he's passed all the dinim, straight road above. And anything I say to you today, and I want to ask you, Mechila, I didn't prepare a eulogy, a hesped. And whatever I will say today will be such an understatement to what you meant to everyone, and to your family, and to me personally. Ellie, from the moment that you married Chayla, you became a son to us as much as she's our daughter. And you became everything to me. My hands, my feet. Your dedication to me. Knew no limits. I could rely on you on everything. You're my son, my friend, confidant. And to think how, not even talking about your wife, your children, we'll talk about it soon, but I will go a day without you. That doesn't seem possible.
Definitely some emotional moments there, of course, from one of the funerals of one of the victims of Bondi Beach. That was a rabbi's funeral that's happening right now in Australia. We're going to take a quick break, but more on these multiple breaking news stories coming back in about 2 minutes. Welcome back to Live Impact News here. Wanted to give you another heads up of some of the things that we have happening locally. I know there's a lot of national news right now, but here we've got Panthers still that we're focusing on their last push for the playoffs. So we're going to have Nick Carboni at 9 with an update on that. And then after that, if you want to stick around for the Belmont Christmas Parade, we're going to have that happening, which is really, really cool because throughout the whole week until Christmas Day, as you can see here, we're going to have all sorts of Christmassy events, including multiple parades, more on the NORAD Santa Tracker. I know that's something James is going to be really interested in.
I'm ready.
He's ready. So a lot of holiday events that we have here over the coming days on WCNC Plus that you can only find here. So again, that will be coming up after our newscast here before our 11 p.m. show on WCNC. Coming back now, though, to some news happening around the country. Earlier today, congressional members out of Washington, D.C. got a chance to gather together. This is multiple Jewish members of Congress, notable especially because, as we just brought you an update from Bondi Beach, the shooting victims there, that is confirmed, targeted as anti-Semitism. So this is definitely a really notable time for these congressional members to get together. So this is their discussion from earlier today.
So many of us here today, I'm horrified and heartbroken at the vile anti-Semitic attack in Australia this weekend, targeting the Jewish community on the first night of Hanukkah. We are all praying for the victims and their families and the entire Australian Jewish community. Anti-Semitic hate is becoming increasingly common, unfortunately, with the highest numbers of anti-Semitic incidents here in the United States since ADL began recording them more than 4 decades ago, just last year. We cannot and we must not and will not be silent. And that's why we're here today. Because I think we should all be going after the root of the rising scourge of anti-Semitic hate around the world. We must stand up to our foreign adversaries, like the government of Iran and the terrorist organizations that they support, who are driving this hatred and violence toward the Jewish people. And the fact that so many people beyond the Jewish community have spoken up and spoken out since Australia is a sign to me that there is a recognition that we can do something if we stand together. Especially this week in the Festival of Lights, we know that through darkness an impossible flame from 1 day's worth of oil lasted for 8 days. So if we stand together, I know that the light will peek through the darkness. So I'm very proud to join together with this group to make it clear that we will not be intimidated, we will not cower from who we are. We will show that even as the hatred of those who wish us harm burns, our faith burns brighter. And I know that because of this group behind me and so many out there. And with that, I would like to turn it over to my friend, also a very strong stalwart for the Jewish people, Congressman Mike Lawler.
Thank you, Josh and Ted and all of my colleagues for being here today. Unfortunately, once again, we are confronted with unimaginable grief and tragedy forced upon the Jewish people. As we saw on October 7th and as we saw on the first day of Hanukkah, Jewish members of our community, Jewish members around the globe, cannot practice their faith for fear of being attacked. And people are being subjected to hate and violence simply because they are Jewish. And it is an outrage that all of us should combat, should push back against, should fight wherever it rears its head, whether in the halls of Congress, in the streets of America, or around the globe. And so we are here today united in a bipartisan way to say that we will not tolerate this. We will not accept this as the norm, that our Jewish brothers and sisters have to live in fear of being murdered while practicing their faith. And that is why we are here together to combat anti-Semitism, to combat Jew hatred, and to stand in solidarity with the Jewish people. And so I want to thank Josh, as always, for leading on this important issue. And I want to introduce Ted Deutsch, the CEO of American Jewish Committee. A mensch of all mensches.
Thanks very much, Congressman Lawler and Congressman Gottheimer, for bringing us together and keeping the victims of Bondi Beach front and center as we recall what happened and we understand the need to aggressively confront the anti-Semitism that we're seeing around the world. But let me also say this. I think we all agree this is not how we want to be spending Hanukkah. The Hanukkah event in Sydney over the weekend was what it was meant to be, a beautiful gathering filled with light and hope and joy. I wish that Jews could show up in synagogue without having to go through metal detectors, without having to worry whether they're a target, without having to look over their shoulder and think about what just happened in Bondi Beach. The Jewish people don't want to be treated any differently than anyone else. We're not asking for more sympathy. We're not asking for more action. We're simply asking for the same response that would come if this violence were targeted at any other religious group. We mourn 15 lives that were stolen from us in Australia. And we keep in mind the dozens more who were injured. The youngest victim was just 10 years old. 2 of those murdered on Saturday night were Holocaust survivors. Marika and Alex survived Hitler's attempt to eradicate the Jewish race, only to be gunned down by terrorists half a century later. Anti-Semitism is a hate that knows no limits. It continues to morph, it continues to grow to fit whatever the contemporary definition of evil is, casting our people as the ones to blame for all of society's ills. And so after attacks like the one in Australia, or the one in Manchester, or the one in Boulder, Colorado, or the one here in Washington at the Jewish Museum after an AJC event, where Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lashinsky were gunned down. The question on our mind, and the question on the minds of these lawmakers, cannot just be how do we improve the security at these events, or it's got to be how do we end this hate that puts the Jewish community at such risk. So we're here today to make some requests, and I stand here with colleagues from the Jewish world that I'm so grateful to work with, and former colleagues that working with was the privilege of my life. And we're here today to ask the Senate to confirm Yehuda Kaplan as Special Envoy to monitor and combat anti-Semitism, and for Congress to fund this office so that it is fully resourced and staffed to address anti-Semitism around the world. We're urging members of Congress to issue public statements that unequivocally condemn this attack. Share the statement broadly, publicly, for everyone to hear. Make it clear in your districts that you stand with the Jewish community and against anti-Semitism, and stand in this fight because we have a stake, everyone has a stake in fighting it. Anti-Semitism tears at the fabric of our democracy. That's why we all are in this together. Come to public menorah lightings over the rest of this holiday and acknowledge the importance of coming together like this bravely with Jews who are proudly being Jewish. And work, and this is, I think, the most important work across the aisle with all relevant government agencies. And do it in all the ways that you can. Do it to investigate foreign-backed anti-Semitism activity and online influence operations that target the Jewish community here and around the world. We know that previous anti-Semitic attacks in Australia were supported and coordinated by the Iranian regime. This attack, perpetrated by homegrown violent extremists, was reportedly inspired by ISIS. In the U.S. and with our allies, we've got to take concrete steps to strengthen our intelligence and counterterrorism cooperation, to protect our communities, to preserve democratic stability, and to prevent massacres like the one that happened at Bondi Beach. So I thank everyone for being here, for demonstrating your commitment to act in the face of rising anti-Semitism. We need our allies. We need a broader community to stand with the Jewish people to combat this persistent, dangerous hate and bigotry. And as we reflect on yet another of the dark days in the Jewish world, let us continue to spread light, whether by illuminating our menorahs or through actions, and to find moments of togetherness as the Jewish people always have, with one another and with the good, dear, supportive friends like the ones that we have here today. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone, for being here. And I am now, I'm going to turn it over.
All right, we are going to take another quick break, but as I've mentioned, lots of news to get to, so stick with us. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Live Impact News. Just past 7:45 here in the Live Impact studio. And one of the other big stories of the weekend is the death of Rob Reiner, famed director, and his wife, Michelle Reiner. We now know that Nick Reiner, his son, is being charged with their murders. We knew he was already being held without bond by LAPD, but we just got news from the district attorney there that it is officially under those murder charges. So we're going to bring you this full press conference from just a couple hours ago where the district attorney announced those official charges.
That decorum in here. DA Nathan Hochman.
My name is Nathan Hochman. I'm the District Attorney of Los Angeles County. Today I'm here to announce that our office will be filing charges against Nick Reiner, who is accused of killing his parents, actor-director Rob Reiner, and photographer-producer Michelle Singer Reiner. These charges will be 2 counts of first-degree murder with the special circumstance of multiple murders. He also faces a special allegation that he personally used a dangerous and deadly weapon, that being a knife. These charges carry a maximum sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole or the death penalty. No decision at this point has been made with respect to the death penalty. We have requested, and currently Nick Reiner is being held without bail. Now, before in announcing these charges, I also want to announce that they're just that. They are charges. Charges are not evidence. Evidence is something that we will be presenting in a court of law to meet the standard of proof we meet in every criminal case, which is beyond a reasonable doubt, to 12 jurors who you'll unanimously have to find that we've met that standard to prove the charges we bring to court. Right now, with respect to the process, once the charges get filed this afternoon, Nick Reiner will be then brought to court. He is going through medical clearance, something that everybody who gets arrested and gets held in a Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department jail goes through. Once he is medically cleared, he will be brought to court to be arraigned on these charges. At that point, he will enter a plea of guilty or not guilty. Now, prosecuting these cases involving family members are some of the most challenging and most heart-wrenching cases that this office faces because of the intimate and often brutal nature of the crimes involved. Rob Reiner was a brilliant actor and director, an iconic force in our entertainment industry for decades. His wife, Michelle Singer Reiner, was an equally iconic photographer and producer. Their loss is beyond tragic, and we will commit ourselves to bringing their murderer to justice. I want to thank LAPD Chief McDonald, who is here today, along with Deputy Chief Alan Hamilton from the LAPD, and LAPD Captain Scott Williams, and the entire Robbery Homicide Division, who literally has been working around the clock to gather the evidence that have led to the charges we're going to be filing today. Also from my office, I have Assistant District Attorney Maria Ramirez. I have Director of Specialized Prosecutions, John McKinney. I have our Head Deputy of Major Crimes, Craig Hum. And I have the 2 prosecutors who will be leading the prosecution in this case, Assistant Head Deputy of Major Crimes, Habib Balian, and Deputy District Attorney for Major Crimes, Jonathan Chung. They will bring their decades of experience to holding this murderer accountable for his actions. At this point, again, you will hear in the media rumors. You will hear speculation. You will hear hearsay. What I'm asking everyone to do is to rely on trusted sources. If it doesn't come from the District Attorney's Office, from LAPD, from the Coroner's Office, or from the courtroom itself, then there's a good chance you are hearing misinformation. because at the appropriate time, the actual evidence involved in this case will be presented in a court of law. So I ask for your patience until that is done. But again, please do not rely on rank speculation, rumor, or hearsay to believe that you understand anything about what went on in this case. I'd now like to turn it over to Chief McDonald.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon, and thank you all for being here today. And it's with deep sadness that I address the tragic loss of Robert and Michelle Reiner. On December 14, 2025, LAPD officers from our West Los Angeles division responded to a death investigation at the 200 block of South Chadbourne Avenue, which is in the Brentwood section of Los Angeles. Upon entering the residence, they discovered the bodies of Mr. and Mrs. Reiner. Detectives from our Robbery Homicide Division Homicide Special Section immediately initiated a comprehensive investigation. The evidence gathered led to the arrest of their son, Nick Reiner, who was taken into custody later that night without incident in the Exposition Park section of our city. Today, the Los Angeles County District's Attorney's Office has formally filed charges against Mr. Reiner for the murder of his parents. This case is heartbreaking and deeply personal, not only for the Reiner family and their loved ones, but for our entire city. We extend our deepest condolences to all of those who were affected by this tragedy. I want to take a moment to recognize and thank our criminal justice partners, the District Attorney's Office led by D.A. Hochman, and everyone who worked tirelessly on this investigation. Their swift action, professionalism, and commitment to justice have been instrumental in bringing clarity and accountability to this case. The LAPD remains steadfast in our mission to protect life and uphold justice. We will continue to support the Reiner family and ensure that every step forward is taken with care, dignity, and resolve. Thank you.
We'll now take some questions. Yes, right here in the front.
Mr. Attorney, could you talk about why you feel this case rises to special circumstances?
So special circumstances is a situation where one of the enumerated factors that lead to elevating in some ways a first-degree murder case to a special circumstance first-degree murder case occurs. One of those special circumstances is called multiple murders. Here we have two, and it qualifies under the definition of multiple murders to allege the special circumstance in this particular case.
Chief,
I saw over here.
Nick Reiner found, and was there any evidence on him indicating a crime, and did he say anything?
Yeah, he was found with good, solid police work, investigative tools used by Robbery Homicide and Gang and Narcotic Division detectives with the U.S. Marshal Service Task Force involved as well. So we're thankful for the work that was done. I won't go into talking about what was found or anything that could potentially taint the investigation.
Chief, one follow-up question,
yeah.
sir. Given Nick's history of drug use, was there any indication that he was under the influence at the time of this crime?
No, thank you again. That's another question I can't touch.
And following up on that, is there any evidence of mental illness in his background?
Yeah, you can talk about that.
I'm sorry, please repeat the question.
Is there any evidence of mental illness in his background beyond the addiction?
The evidence, any evidence, if there is any, of mental illness for his background will be coming out in the hearings that will occur. We anticipate, again, after the arraignment, the process will go through the normal process a case like this goes through. At the appropriate time, if there is evidence of mental illness, it will be presented in court and in whatever detail the defense seeks to do that. Yes, right here.
Are you anticipating any kind of significant delay in bringing this case to trial on the basis perhaps that they have to undergo significant psychological evaluation, which would also give your people what they need in order to background to what might describe why his actions happened the way they did?
We don't anticipate any significant delay more than is involved in a first-degree murder case with special circumstances. These are some of the most serious charges that a DA's office can bring against anyone. And we anticipate that the discovery that we will produce to the defense will be robust. It will be very involved. They'll want adequate time to review it. They'll want to go go through every single factor that they can ascertain in the defense of Mr. Nick Reiner. So again, this will proceed along the tracks that many of the first-degree murder cases proceed. Do I anticipate it being particularly fast? No. I anticipate it being very thorough. Yes, right here.
All right, you were just listening into the LA District Attorney walking reporters through the charges here, the new charges against Nick Reiner. He has been held and without bond for multiple days now after the death of his parents. This is the first announcement that he's actually being charged with their murder. So this is a story we'll be following for a long time now. As the DA just said, it's going to be thorough in terms of the investigation, and so lots more to come. As he mentioned, these are some of the most serious charges a DA can even bring. So lots of more questions still remain, but definitely a developing situation there. We're going to take another quick break and get back to some more of our breaking news stories in about 2 minutes. Welcome back to Live Impact News. Julie Kay here. It is just now turning 8 o'clock, and so we wanted to take a minute to kind of preview what we have going on the rest of the night. We are hoping for Donald Trump to be speaking, President Trump, at 8:15. Now, with events like this that involve the White House, it might take a little bit longer, but he is expected to speak at a Hanukkah event. Notable, of course, because we now know that the Bondi Beach shooting in Australia is confirmed an act of anti-Semitism. So we are hoping to hear from President Trump in the next 15 minutes, but if it doesn't happen at exactly 8:15, we'll bring that to you live whenever it does happen. Other things going on here on Live Impact News the rest of the night. We have our parades. This begins this evening with the Belmont Christmas Parade at 9:30. As you can see, we have this also for the rest of the week until Christmas Day. We have a Christmas event happening. You can find that here on WCNC Plus at 9:30. Right before that, after I end here at 9, we're going to have Nick talking Panthers. So a lot going on here in the Live Impact studio throughout the week overall. What we want to do now, though, is get out to our partners in Seattle at King 5, where they're updating us at the top of their 5 p.m. newscast there with these life-threatening floods and the levees being breached. So let's listen in.
We could opt for Snoqualmie Pass. This is a live look from our crew in the North Bend area. That's not advised, though, with a rare blizzard warning set to take effect during the overnight hours. We are talking upwards of 10 inches of snow possible. Complete whiteout conditions in the Cascades, which could last for hours. This is King 5 News at 5 o'clock. I'm Joyce Taylor. So not only are the Cascades bracing for more severe weather, all of Western Washington should be on alert with damaging winds expected through tonight. Falling trees, power lines could knock power out for thousands of people. All of this coming as communities are still grappling with the aftermath of multiple atmospheric river events. In Pacific, a levee along the White River failed, forcing hundreds of evacuations there. King 5's Natalie Swaby joining us live where repair work is underway right now. Natalie?
Well, that's right. And in this area, first responders went door to door early this morning, urging people to leave, and that crew came in right away to do that work. As you can see, they're still out here more than 14 hours later, racing to find a fix. The view from above reveals the devastation. While many Pacific residents slept, work crews discovered a levee failure along the White River. The alert jolted Larry Langle awake in the middle of the night.
And I thought we were safe, but we looked out the door and water was coming up, so we left.
As Larry raced out, Alex Dolby rushed in.
It's nerve-wracking. I don't know. I'm really hoping that, that it'll subside a little bit, but this is the worst that we've seen in a long time.
The dump truck driver from Kitsap County volunteered his time to haul critical materials to the breach site.
And I worry for the people that live around here.
The biggest part of the operation at this point, boots on the ground here, was getting those super sacks filled.
Crews are packing 2-ton sandbags at a quick pace. Days of relentless storms have swollen rivers.
In general, water levels are high, and we need to balance all of it region-wide.
Every shovel, every sandbag, every minute counts as crews work to seal the breach. That urgency pulled Alex from his home an hour and a half away. His reason? Community.
Community. The community is the biggest thing. This is what brings us together, this type of stuff. Put everything aside and just help each other out.
It's the extra effort that's needed as the weather keeps testing this community.
But it's Mother Nature, so there's no telling.
Back out here live, further down the road, waist-deep water flooded parts of the area at times, and the city says plenty of homes still remain in the danger zone, and in those areas, they are not sure when those evacuation orders will be lifted. Joyce?
And do we know how many homes the levee failure is affecting?
We know in the early morning hours, according to King County, they alerted 1,300 residents. The city says their total is about 220 homes directly affected by the flooding event so far. Joyce?
Natalie in Pacific tonight, thank you. Well, the breach comes less than 24 hours after a levee failure along the Green River sparked a flash flood warning. It forced evacuations in parts of Tukwila, Kent, and Renton. Emergency repairs are now complete at that levee. Flooding in western Washington has now claimed one life. Early this morning, a 33-year-old man drove past a road closed sign along Marsh Road in the flooded Snoqualmie River Valley. His vehicle swept away. You can see the tip of the large SUV poking above the water line. This picture taken by first responders. The man was found unresponsive inside the vehicle in about 6 feet of water. Rescue workers say it only takes a foot of water to lift a small car, 2 feet to sweep away a truck.
None of these vehicles are tall enough to make through these floodwaters, and so it's important to look at those road closure signs and don't go around them because it's serious business.
No one else was in the vehicle with that driver. Well, state officials say the impact of these storms now stretches across much of the state. King 5's Sebastian Robertson was at today's press conference with the governor, who shared the worst may not be over yet, Sebastian.
Yes, all eyes are on the forecast, and with high winds and of course a lot more rain in the forecast, the governor predicts we may be in this situation for a little bit of time, and that the true damage may not be known for weeks, if not months. So this morning, the governor held a news conference with state emergency officials where he called the flooding crisis one of the most devastating disasters in the state's history. According to the Red Cross, the designated disaster area spans more than 123,000 square miles. The governor expanded his emergency declaration this morning to include 14 counties, activating cash and benefit assistance programs and making an additional $3.5 million available for disaster relief. That extra money, he says, he was able to release without legislative approval.
So what we're working on is a major disaster declaration. That's what unlocks significant financial resources for individuals and for local governments and the state for the impacts that will no doubt be profound from a financial standpoint.
A lot of that help is already on the way. The National Guard is on the ground. Coast Guard helicopters are assisting from the air. And a recently deployed federal urban search and rescue team, several of them are helping people trapped by floodwaters. Governor Bob's Ferguson urging people to follow those evacuation notices should you get one. He says, for God's sake, follow it. Joyce.
Good advice. Sebastian, so with such a large disaster area, which areas are officials most concerned about right now?
Yes, it is a huge area. The next 24 to 48 hours could really be challenging for everybody involved. They're paying extra attention to the Snoqualmie and Skagit rivers, where levels were expected to rise today. Joyce?
Reporting live for us tonight in Seattle. Thank you, Sebastian. Let's take a live look. Snoqualmie Pass, whiteout conditions expected over the Cascades with a rare blizzard warning going into effect at 2 a.m. King 5 has a crew in the region ahead of that warning. As you can see, a few people out on the roads still this hour where the traffic's moving pretty well, but boy, it's what we're expecting next. Leah Pizzetti's here with the details for us tonight, Leah.
Right, Joyce, and as you can see, roadways look okay right now. We don't have the snow yet, but that will change after midnight tonight. So if you do have to do any pass travel, now is your time. You're dealing with rain right now, but after midnight that will change, and actually the rain is going to be increasing as we head into the next couple of hours, so it could be heavy rain at times as well. But that orange color indicating a blizzard warning that is now in place. We have to have pretty specific conditions for a blizzard warning. It's not just snow, but it's windy snow. So we have to have sustained or frequent gusts or wind of 35 miles per hour, which we are absolutely expecting. In fact, 50 to 60 mile per hour gusts are expected tonight. That, with snow falling, reduces visibility to a quarter of a mile or less, and we need to see these conditions for 3 hours. That is when we officially keep an eye out for blizzard conditions, and that is what we are expecting for both the Olympics and the Cascades. This starts at 2 a.m. overnight tonight and continues through noon, so it's our early morning hours tomorrow. This is for above 2,000 feet with 10 to 20 inches of snow expected, plus that 40 to 50 mile per hour wind with isolated gusts even higher. It is going to be challenging to travel the passes tonight, and this is just one of the elements I'm keeping an eye on. We're also continuing to watch the flooding that Sebastian mentioned, plus widespread wind in the lowlands as well. I'll track what that means for tonight straight ahead.
Right. Thanks, Leah.
All right, that was live coverage from King 5 in Seattle, the top of their 5 p.m. newscast with all the latest information on that historic flooding, which is just continuing to be an issue. As they said, this is going to be a months-long impact. So our Brad Panovich actually got a chance to break down the impacts of this and what's coming next in our Weather Impact show just a little while ago.
That's where we're going to start tonight, because we're going to talk atmospheric rivers. Yes, that's a real term, and it's been around for a long time, and actually a lot more research has gone into it, Tim. But boy, the Pacific Northwest has just been clobbered, and you can see even tonight they've got an atmospheric river, which, if you don't know what that is, it's basically a flow of moisture coming in from the Pacific and plowing right into the West Coast. We get these on the East Coast from time to time. We've had them in flooding events and tropical events, but the West Coast, these are pretty big events. They cause a lot of their flooding, a lot of their big snowstorms in the Sierras and Cascades, and actually responsible for a lot of the water they need. But this is too much water, Tim, and some of the images you're looking at right now are of flooding. A lot of the rivers are flooding, and we've seen some levee breaches. Unfortunately, we're all too familiar with that kind of stuff here in the Carolinas, but it's unrelenting, Tim, and it looks like another atmospheric river is going to impact them over the next 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah, it's really pretty scary to see, and the pictures speak for themselves. Whenever you see flooding like that, you know what they're dealing with. And like you said, Brad, we've certainly seen that plenty of times on our side of the country. But the setup it's kind of suffocating, because in a way you just continue to have that moisture aimed at you. And so what you really need to happen is either shut off the moisture or at least get it to pivot a little bit and angle it a different way, because until then, you're not going to get that rain to stop happening. And this is just a really bad pattern for Washington State. But I think also it'll be shifting a little farther south too as we go into the next couple of days.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I was just telling James here that for folks that don't know, I've been to quite a few West Coast weather conferences, and one of the fascinating things about atmospheric rivers is they rank them. They have a category scale, AR 1 through 5, and if you could bring up my laptop, James, I'll show this real quick. So what they do, and it's kind of cool. Well, the color looks horrible on that. But you could see on the left, this is the maximum AR scale in the last 7 days, and you can see all those orange dots on the coast. I'll try to make it bigger here. Those orange dots are showing they've had AR4, which is on the scale from 1 to 5. That's right near the top. But if we scroll over to the right, you'll see coming up, and Tim just alluded to this, there will be another atmospheric river over the next day or so, through basically 16th through the 23rd, that will max out about AR4, some AR3, but it actually shifts a little further south into parts of Northern California and more of Oregon. This is really good news for skiers in the Tahoe area, because they're probably going to get feet and feet of snow, but it looks like it does shift a little further south. It's pretty cool research, and this helps the water managers and the public out there kind of prepare for these, Tim, when they use these AR scales to kind of categorize these so people kind of know how bad this event will. The best way I could describe it, it's like, think of it as a category for a hurricane, and in this case it has to do with the amount of moisture coming in. So it's a pretty cool scale, and one of the nice things about it, if you scroll down, you can click on a point on the map, and it actually gives you a nice mediagram showing when the worst weather or rainfall and what scale it's going to be over certain areas. So very useful tool if you ever are interested in West Coast weather. That is a great tool, and that's actually hosted on, I think, the Western Water page. I'm going to scroll up to the top and show you. It's the Center for Western Weather and Water Extreme. So pretty cool product out there. And we mentioned last week, Tim, that the hurricane hunters have actually done research missions into these atmospheric rivers. So in some cases, this is like the West Coast equivalent of hurricanes that we would be used to here on the East Coast.
Yeah, it really is, and really interesting research, like you alluded to. I was at a conference in San Diego a couple of years ago, and the whole joke was like, well, you guys don't get weather out here. And that was one of the huge topics that they mentioned, because the Scripps Institute out there kind of leads the way in a lot of these atmospheric river categories. And they really were talking about just how hugely impactful they are, especially for Southern California, because that's more of a dry climate. That can really account for the majority of the rainfall of the whole year, is just these couple of events. But for the Pacific Northwest, of course, this is a bad one already. And, just looking at the 7-day forecast rain totals up there, I mean, it looks like almost everybody is going to get an additional, 3 to 5 inches at least. But the bigger ones will probably see still over 10 inches of rain, basically anywhere from San Francisco up to Seattle over the next couple of weeks. This is just a general product here, but you can see who's going to be getting it. And it's over a very wide area over the next week.
Yeah, and what's interesting, Tim, as you know, this is such an important part of the water supply on the West Coast. When they have the mega droughts that they've had in the past decade or so, it's because they haven't had these atmospheric rivers to help replenish the water supply. So this is really, I think California is a fascinating climate because of this. It is a climate of extremes. It's mega drought, it's flooding, it's wildfires. I think California weather is very underrated, and sometimes it changes over very short distances, and this extends up in the Pacific Northwest. You have a large body of water like the Pacific Ocean and giant mountains. You're always going to have fascinating weather, but that map is really telling, Tim, because if you look at the whole country, that's where all the rain is going to be in the country. It's on the West Coast right now. Look at that view. I mean, that really kind of tells you all that is happening on the West Coast and Northern California through Oregon and Washington State. I was looking, because I'm going skiing in 2 weeks in Deer Valley out in Utah, and I was telling James this too. They've not had a lot of moisture further south. It's one of the slowest starts to the ski season, and Deer Valley has like 208 runs. There's only 8 runs open right now, and it's the week before Christmas. So we're hoping some of that moisture gets further south to help the skiers, but they're hoping it as well. They've been trying to make snow to get things going. So this is really vital to not only the water supply, but for the recreation that happens on the West Coast as well.
All right, that was our Chief Meteorologist, Brad Panovich, breaking down the impacts and what's to come in Washington, the Pacific Northwest, as they deal with this historic flooding. This is the kind of long-form content that you can get when you join weeknights at 6:30 on our Live Weather Impact show, breaking down the biggest weather stories from across the country with our in-house experts. We're going to take a quick break, but as I mentioned, we are waiting any minute now for President Trump to speak at this Hanukkah event inside the White House. You can see people there milling about, also expecting it any minute now. So we're hoping when we come back in 2 minutes, he'll get started. Welcome back to Live Impact News. Julie Kay here. It is 8:18, so we are still waiting any minute now for President Trump to speak. You can see people, this is a live feed from inside the White House where we're awaiting his speech at this Hanukkah event. We're hearing the music come in and out, so we know something must be happening soon. But while we are awaiting this, we wanted to bring you back to a story that we actually broke here on Live Impact News last night. This just shocking explosion out of Salisbury with 12 firefighters injured. We wanted to bring you back to our Walker Lawson because he was back out there again today after being there late last night for the breaking news. So here is his updated story from just a couple hours ago.
It's just sad. It's really sad.
Legene McJunkin lives directly across the street from the home that caught on fire Monday. He didn't want to show his face on camera, but says the moment is burned into his memory.
I was standing right here looking at the house burning, and then all of a sudden, boom. So I physically just saw the house, the roof raise, and I saw the bricks come out, and it almost like the explosion itself kind of blew the fire out.
An explosion that has changed the holiday spirit in this neighborhood.
We all turned our Christmas lights off. Like all of a sudden it wasn't Christmas time anymore. You know, it was something more serious or deeper than that.
Homeowner Richard Washington says he's just happy no one was seriously hurt.
It's a lot of pressure for me because it's a long journey back for us. I mean, a fire is just can't get it back. I can't get the house. As long as I got my family, that's good.
All right, welcome back. Some other breaking news that we have been hitting really hard over the last couple of weeks is yet another stabbing on the Charlotte light rail. Of course, the first one being in August of this year, the tragic death of Irina Zarutska, the suspect in that case going through the court process right now. Meanwhile, though, earlier this month, I believe this was December 5th, so just a couple weeks ago, another stabbing, the suspect in that case now going through the court process as well. At the same time, the victim in that case being arrested for something else. So this is a really, really intricate case here. It's bringing up a lot of questions about public safety on the Charlotte Light Rail in general, but we are getting our first look at the 911 calls from the train that night. Of course, a really, really scary situation. Good thing that the victim is doing well, but this is our first look inside of what that scene was like on the train, what passengers were saying, what witnesses were saying. So we're going to take a listen into these calls just to kind of paint a picture for what that was like.
Yes, we're applying pressure. He feels dizzy. I'm asking a few questions. Yes. And how old is he? Yep, how old are you? 24. No. Is he awake? Yes, he's awake. He's awake right now. He's breathing right now, but yeah. No, you're not gonna die. You're not gonna die, huh?
Really chaotic scene there where you can hear a very young person, very stressed in this moment, understandably so, not just trying to communicate with the 911 operator about what's happening here, but also trying to comfort the victim in that moment. We have one more call that we're going to get to now as well.
Is the assailant still nearby? Is the what? Is the assailant still nearby? He's getting off the train now. He's getting off the train. Is there any serious bleeding? I can't really tell. We're trying to just apply pressure to his chest. Is he responding normally? He is. He's talking to me, yes. He wants me to take the jacket off, but I don't want to move it. No.
Yeah, just really, really hard to listen to calls there from a very, very stressful scene. Again, the victim has survived in that situation. Luckily, we avoided another deadly stabbing on the light rail. But as I mentioned, this bringing up just a lot of calls for more public safety concerns, more public safety conversations, and action from our local leaders. So after the holidays, it will be really interesting to see what this new city council does in response to those calls. It'll be interesting to see how these multiple now court cases will go with these two suspects in these two separate stabbing incidents on Charlotte Public Transit. Another big story happening in our region that we wanted to get to is out of South Carolina. Measles is a huge deal there right now. We are dealing with an outbreak that we haven't seen in a very long time. So of course, parents are dealing with a lot of concerns with how do I keep my child safe? So our partners at WYFF bring you the latest on what you need to know to keep your child safe from measles.
And our babies just don't have the immune system yet to fight those things off.
While the CDC recommends babies be vaccinated for the measles between 12 and 15 months, pediatric nurse practitioner Amy Rush works in Inman and says parents are asking if they can vaccinate sooner.
Fairly frequently right now, actually, just because our parents are nervous, our families are nervous about this outbreak. It definitely fuels anxiety.
Yeah. Kate Franklin lives in Duncan and has 3 kids, including a 3-month-old baby, too young to be vaccinated. With so many of the measles exposures in public schools, she worries even when her baby has the sniffles.
I'm up every couple hours with her and checking on her and putting your hand over her chest and checking on her all the time. And I think, when you think about the bigger picture of them getting even more sick and possibly being admitted to the hospital and all that can bring, you don't ever want to see your kid have to go through that.
With their developing immune systems and inability to get the vaccine, Rush says babies are the most susceptible to the measles.
And so that's why when babies get sick, we take it really seriously.
And nurses say around the holidays, we typically see an uptick in sickness.
It really does make you have to think about, okay, do I stand in the back? Do I kind of keep her away from all these other friends and family members because, there's just no telling what they've been exposed to and how long that's been lingering around.
The best way to protect your babies, we're told, keep them away from large crowds. The measles vaccine is 93% effective at 1 dose and 97% at 2, according to doctors. So get them vaccinated when your doctor recommends. Until then,
we want to make sure that everyone around them, family members, caregivers, people in the community are vaccinated because we really rely on that to keep our littlest, most vulnerable population protected.
Definitely some really helpful information there, especially ahead of the holiday season when a lot of traveling is going on, so be sure to keep everyone safe. As we've been teasing for a while now, we are waiting on President Donald Trump to speak at this Hanukkah event. You can see that podium set up and people milling about, reporters getting ready. And so we're hoping that when we come back from this 2-minute break that he's going to be speaking. But whenever that happens, we'll be sure to bring it to you live, so stick with us. Welcome back to Live Impact News. As I mentioned a couple times now, we are still waiting on President Donald Trump to speak at this Hanukkah event. But as you can see, people are all in the facility, all getting ready to listen. So we're really hoping it's any minute now. In the meantime, we're going to get back to our local forecast with Brad Panovich. He had his weather impact show earlier. We teased that a bit ago with his breakdown of what's happening in Washington. But we're going to get to our own local forecast, his extended forecast that he does while we wait for President Trump.
That's the good news. Not a lot going on in our area, but I can already see our big next weather maker. It's this system over Texas. You can see the clouds and the rain developing. That is going to be heading our way tomorrow in the form of clouds first, and then the rain's going to come in. So Thursday, we're looking at some soggy weather moving in, but just in the past 24 hours. So we show you this graphic. This is the 24-hour temperature change from 6:31 tonight till 6:31 last night. And so we are 16 degrees warmer in Charlotte, 12 degrees warmer in Jefferson. At one point today, we had 15 to 20 degree temperature change in just 24 hours. So our current temperatures, yes, it's cool. It's 50 in Charlotte, but some areas are even colder. Upper 30s already in Lincolnton, mid 40s. This is kind of typical with clear skies, dry air. You get a lot of low spots cool off quicker than higher spots. So a little bit of elevation helps you out. So here in Charlotte, we've got, called uptown for a reason. It is a little bit warmer, and the urban heat island helps out, but you can see outlying areas cooling off quicker. But we do have southwest winds, so that southwest flow is going to keep us milder tonight. High today, 55. Right on schedule for this time of year. That's our average high for this date. 28 this morning. That's below our average low of 35. So a little bit below this morning. And tonight will be pretty close to average again, down the low 30s. So still near freezing. Cold start, certainly, but not nearly as cold as the past two nights, especially Monday morning. So your wake-up weather tomorrow morning, the bus stop, heading out to work or school. Temperatures generally in the 30s. Some clouds out there. Sunrise again, 7:25. Getting later until we get to the solstice. That sunrise gets later and later, even though the sun sets are starting to get later and later as well. So we're starting to see a little bit more daylight in the evening, not so much in the morning. So if you're an early riser, you know what I'm talking about. You're probably going to work in the dark or twilight at the very least. Tomorrow, 60 degrees, some low 60s out there. But if we had full sunshine, I think we'd be in the mid 60s tomorrow, because that's how much warmer the flow is, the atmosphere is. It's just that those high clouds, they're going to act like a thin piece of paper or a sheet, just filtering out the sun enough, which isn't a lot of sun. 31-degree sun angle this time of year is not very high. It's the lowest we have all year. So if you don't get direct sun this time of year, it definitely can get cool. And I'll show you those clouds moving in our futurecast. You'll see them increasing from the southwest. Again, there'll be breaks. Some of it will be thin cloud cover. But as we get closer to Thursday, that's when I really see temperatures kind of staying pretty mild, but also a lot more clouds and eventually rain. Now, the rain is going to be heaviest late day and into the evening hours. So if you want to get something done outside on Thursday, best to do that first thing in the morning, or at least before lunchtime, as we're going to see clouds and showers developing throughout the day, even some thunderstorms distinctly possible as a cold front approaches from the north and west. And that cold front actually could bring us a rumble of thunder. Now, how much rain are we talking about? Don't get caught up in the specific location and numbers. Just get an idea of the amounts that are possible. If you look across our area, you've got some totals as high as 1.5 inches, some as low as 1/4 inch. This could shift east, west, north, south a little bit still. It's still Thursday into Friday. We've got a long ways to go. It's only Tuesday night right now. So potentially we could see that shift. Now, I talked about the extremes. We've had the 23rd coldest start to December on record through the first 15 days. So that's basically the first half. Second half of the month, it's like Mother Nature says, guess what? We're going to correct that in a hurry. And we're going to see much warmer temperatures for the second half. And these will be exaggerated, because not only is it going to be warmer than average, but remember, our average high is still going down and our average low is still going down. The coldest part of winter is mid-January. So as temperatures are warming up, our averages are going down. So the departure from average actually gets exaggerated here the later we get in the month. So as we get towards the end of the month, this is Christmas and beyond, average highs in the low 50s, average lows in the low 30s. So with these high probabilities above average temperatures, you're talking about highs probably in the 60s, maybe close to 70 in a few instances. I certainly think that's in the cards for sometime between holiday and the New Year. So right now, your Christmas Day forecast trends for Charlotte trending up, low to mid 60s for highs and dry. In fact, I think we could see upper 60s going into Christmas. And just for perspective, here's what the last 5 Christmas days look like in Charlotte. 56 last year, 61 2 years ago, 2022, I could never forget that. Frigid day.
That was 13, so cold.
Yeah, 39. The next day it was like 9, Christmas, the day after Christmas morning, and going into Christmas, the 26th, I think we only got to like 35. We had rolling blackouts because there was so much power usage because of the cold and it being a holiday and everybody at home. So that was definitely cold. And then you go the year before, it was 71. So we've had a little bit of everything. We could be closer to that 71 for sure than the 39. This weekend, kind of a preview of that, mid 50s on Saturday, mid 60s on Sunday. Home Panthers game against Tampa Bay, huge game. Had to laugh. Nick Carboni was interviewing their sports anchor, and he said it was going to be different weather for Tampa Bay. I was like, nope, it's actually going to be pretty close to Tampa Bay. It's really not that cold. I wish it was colder for them, because it would have made for a more interesting game. It's actually going to be no weather issues at all. As we look at your Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast, rain on Thursday into Friday. Saturday, Charlotte Descent, home game, Checkers, home game. Great weather there. A little cooler on Monday, but then I'll go 10 days in the future, because we can show you this long range now. Gets us through Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Would you look at Christmas Eve? 68 degrees. That's the day we could be near 70. Now, again, we're still 8-9 days out from this, so there's still some time for change, but the trend and the pattern has been warming for those 2 days, and at least dry. So I would count on at least 60s, morning lows in the 40s and 50s. And if you're hoping for a white Christmas, stop hoping, because it's not going to happen this year. And like I always say, it's a generational thing. 4 times in recorded history. The last time, 2010, that was a spectacular Christmas. And that also was our coldest first 2 weeks of December all time. This year's the 23rd, so kind of some parallels there. Stick around. We'll talk more about this.
All right, that was your updated and extended forecast with Brad from Live Weather Impact. You can catch that every weekday at 6:30, where he breaks down our local weather in a more extensive way and also talks about weather happenings from all over the country. Right now, that being Washington, that's the big story. As I mentioned, we're still waiting for President Trump. A little bit of a delay here, but not too long. Hopefully that will be waiting because, as you can see, people still standing around there. So hopefully in the next few minutes here at this Hanukkah event. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Julie Kay here. Happening right now, President Trump is speaking live at the White House at this Hanukkah event. While we were in break, he began his speech offering his condolences, of course, to the victims of the Bondi Beach shooting and calling this an anti-Semitic attack.
He was the doctor for all three of us, and he said Trump was by far the healthiest. I love him. If he didn't say that, I would have never have talked to him again. Where is Ronnie? Is he here? Ronnie Jackson, what a great legend. Josh Gottheimer's here. Mr. Salt is here, Mike Lawler. He's the only guy could have gotten that for New York. Nobody else. He worked so hard on that. Will you please focus on the midterms, please? Do you mind? Okay. Because you can do it. Jared Moskowitz. Thank you, Jared. Thank you, Jared. Max Miller is here. Great old Max. He was my music man in the White House. He knew music better than any human being. Craig Goldman. Thank you, Craig. And Randy Fine, new to Congress, but he's done a great job. He's been great. As well as the mayor of Boca Raton, Florida, Scott Singer. Thank you very much. Thank you, Scott. Good place. I love Boca. National Chairman of the Republican Jewish Committee, Norm Coleman. Thank you, Norm. Looking good, Norm. CEO of the Republican Jewish Coalition, Matt Brooks. He says Trump is the greatest president we've ever had, so I like him. I'll take Matt any day. Thank you, Matt. CEO of the Israeli-American Council, Ellen Carr. Thank you. We have a man, I have to take a little time, because every Saturday night, used to be Sunday, then he did so well that they put him on Saturday too, Saturday night. Do you know who I'm talking about? Because there's only one has Saturday and Sunday. And Saturday is considered Death Valley, but it's not death because of ratings. nobody gets good ratings. Although actually my daughter-in-law is doing well, and you always did well. The great one, Mark Levin. And much more importantly, his much more brilliant wife. Where are you? There you are. Would you come on up here, both of you? Get up here. Get up here. Look, every Saturday, every Sunday, I'm forced to watch television to listen to this guy talk about how frickin' great I am. Because he does like Trump. There's no question about it. Come on up here, Mark. Get up here. Come on up. What a beautiful couple. Did you get lucky? If you weren't a genius, you wouldn't have a wife like this. Mark, say a couple of words. Come here, darling. And these people do like Israel.
Hold on. And he loves Israel too.
It's true.
2 seconds. Just 2 seconds. 6 years ago, I was up here, and I said, "This is our first Jewish president."
It's true.
Now he's the first Jewish president to serve 2 not consecutive presidencies. We thank you for everything.
That's right. Bad things happened on the second one. Namely, the election was rigged. And we found out, and you see that happening. But
and you are the greatest president.
Thank you very much.
And God bless you. I miss you. I miss you.
Take care of that guy. Take care of that guy. No, he's so great. Thank you, Mark, for both being here. You both really are amazing. So, Rabbi Yehuda Kaplan. Thank you, Rabbi. Oh, no. Sid Rosenberg. There he is. Sid. Do you want to come up here, Sid? Mark, should I let Sid come up, Mark? I think so. Come on, Sid. So Sid's got the #1 radio show in New York. Got the #1 radio show in New York, like by far, ABC. Works for a really nice guy, too. Actually, he's not that nice, but he's nice as far as I'm concerned. He works for a good man. Say a few words, Sid. Thank you.
I love him. Do you all love him? Has there been a president even close to this guy, even close? And now I know what I love him. He starts tonight talking about Australia. Good luck with anybody else in our government, starting with the Jewish people in Australia. Nobody better. And the fact that you called me up on stage, I'm going to say this. My beautiful wife Danielle's in the audience. The birth of my 2 children. Outside of that, President Trump, this right now is the greatest moment of my life.
Thank you. Very generous. Thank you. He's almost crying. He never cried. He hasn't cried since he's a baby. Well, he's a great guy and a great man, and he loves Israel. And boy, you got some good people. Harmeet, thank you very much. Harmeet Dillon is here. And she sues the ass off of anybody that is anti-Semitic. She's doing a lot of them right now. Harvard wished they never heard her name, right? They're going to pay a lot of money, right, Harmeet? We're going to pay a lot of money. Sid, it's an honor to have you up, and you do a great show, and we appreciate it. And say hello to the Casamatides person, who's fantastic. And another person, I really love her. I think she's a beautiful woman. You're not allowed to say that anymore, because if you do, it usually means the end of your political career. But I've been threatened much worse than that. I think she's a beautiful woman, inside and out. Liz Pipko. Liz, come up here. Enough with the Sid and the Mark. Come on up here. Look at her. She has been so strong for Israel and for our country. Let's say a few words, please. Hi, thank you.
First, I want to address the elephant in the room, which is me tonight. I am grateful to President Trump for so many things, but now most of all, I'm grateful for this tiny miracle which exists because Donald Trump ran for office in 2016. I met the love of my life on that campaign, and now in addition to saving the world, I will have a child thanks to President Trump. So And much more importantly, the Jewish people have been through a lot, of course, the last few years, last weekend, and I just hope on this holiday of miracles, we realize what a miracle it is to be in the greatest country on the face of the earth, in the most beautiful building, and with the greatest president this world has ever seen.
Congratulations. That's right. She was on the campaign, and she was so effective and great. And we always have to remember the ones that have been great in good times and bad. That's why Mark and the people I introduce, because I don't introduce them when they're just sort of good. When they're good, everyone's good. The day after I won the election, they were all, "Sir, I just want to tell you, you're the greatest person I've ever seen. Thank you, sir. I'd love to have dinner sometime. Where have you been for the last 2 years?" We have a lot of those people, mostly those. Jason, how are you, Jason? Jason Greenblatt. Do you know Jason Greenblatt? He worked for me for years. He's a great lawyer. Then he made a lot of money, and he said, "I'm getting out." And you focused on Israel, right? That was the focus. He says, "I love Israel. I just want to focus on Israel." It's good to see you, Dave. I haven't seen you in a long time, but he was a great lawyer. Here's another great lawyer, David. Good to have you here. Good to have you here, David. And we have another person that's a very special person. She received the Presidential Medal of Freedom. She is a beautiful woman, actually, in my opinion. Another one. That's 2 reasons now. And third, by the way, Mark, we have 3 reasons, Mark, because your wife is incredible, always, from day one. But I think it's okay if we ask Miriam Adelson. Do you want to come up, Miriam? Come up here, Miriam. Miriam gave my campaign, indirectly and directly, $250 million. She was number one. When somebody can give you $250 million, I think that we should give her the opportunity to say hello. And Miriam, make it quick, because $250 million is not what it used to be. Okay? Hello, darling. Come on. Incredible woman with a great husband, a man that loved Israel.
Well, Mr. President, when you were in the Israeli parliament and you gave a speech and you saw me from far away, you called, and at that time I came with a scooter to the parliament just to hear you. I wanted to hear you alive. And then you said, "Miriam Adelson," and I stood for a second, but it was so painful, so I sat. Then you screamed, "Miriam, stand up!" And I wish you would have known, but I stood up and heard all your compliment, and thank you very much.
I saw you back there standing.
Yeah, you saw me.
She stood
Thank
up
you.
bravely.
And now I met Alan Dershowitz, and he said the legal thing about 4 more years, and I said, "Alan, I agree with you, so we can do it. Think about it."
Alan's
and
here someplace. Where's Alan?
Alan is here, or he had a flight? Alan is here? Think about it.
Thank you.
Maybe I will be the first one who told you, or second. Yeah.
She said, "Think about it. I'll give you another 250."
I will give.
But her husband, Sheldon, was an amazing guy, and he'd come up to the office, and there was nobody more aggressive than Sheldon. I think I spent more time with him and you, because you usually came up together, but he'd call and say, "Can I come over, please?" I say, "Sheldon, I'm president of the United States. It doesn't work that way anymore. It's like maybe tomorrow. How about tomorrow? No, please, just for a little while." And he'd always say 10 minutes. It turned out to be about an hour and a half, right? And what he did is he fought for Israel. That's all he really fought for. He just wanted to take care of Israel. So he was a great guy. He was a fantastic man, and he loved you so much he couldn't see straight. So good. Thank you, darling. Be careful. Be careful. We don't want her falling. You know, when you fall, it's not good for politics. We had a man that fell a lot. I don't want to talk too much because I'll have my day, I'm sure, you know. They're waiting, the press. See all that press back there? They're waiting. Oh, would they like to see Trump trip off the stage? I would never live it down. But anyway, it's and we have so many friends. I can't mention everybody. We have so many friends. Hello, my man. How are you? Boy, we have good people here tonight, huh? This is the A-list. This is the A-list of any list. But it's an honor to have you all. It really is. What you've done and what you've gone through is incredible. And as a people, there's never been anything like it. You know, I told Bibi, I said, you know, it's amazing what you've done. Because when you look at the Middle East, you take a map of the Middle East, I said, the land is so small. It's so tiny. It's like hard to believe what you've been able to do. Now, it helped the B-2 bombers that we sent in to wipe out the... we gave them a lot of help. It helped when we were shooting all those drones down from jet fighters. Don't ever let anyone tell you a drone is better than a jet fighter. Drone's very nice. But when you have F-22s circling around them like there's nothing, just shooting the crap out of them out of the air, don't let anyone convince you that a drone is better than an F-22 or an F-35 or any of that stuff. But they're nice. They're nice. But we had our fighters shooting the hell out of 2,000 drones were launched at Israel, and they were just knocking them out. The only problem, on occasion, they'd run out of bullets. But every one of them took out a drone, and we did a great job. And then we did the best job of all, as we knocked out the Iran nuclear power. And they would have had that, and within a month, I think they would have been a much different story. Would have been talking from a much different place. But the story of Hanukkah began more than 2,000 years ago in ancient Jerusalem, when the oppressive tyrant, and they were really oppressive, tried. By the way, a lot of things don't change so much. They'd be oppressive today if you didn't have strength. You need strength, Mark, right? If you don't have strength, and if you don't have a partner with a good president, don't forget you had a president previously that believed in Iran. They ditched the entire world for Iran. That's why they signed the Iran nuclear deal that I terminated immediately. It was the worst deal. And Bibi Netanyahu came over here to beg Barack Hussein Obama not to sign that deal, but he signed it. He signed it. It was a whole different world. And that's why I wonder. I got the highest Jewish vote. Now, I have to say, in Israel, they say I'm at 99%. But over here, I was like at 50. It meant that 50% of the people over here voted for Kamala. Is that possible? Is that even possible, right? So anyway, but they suppressed the Jewish worship and imposed foreign rules. Are we okay over there? Just want to make sure you're okay. You okay? Good. I want to make sure you're perfect. Okay? Thank you very much, yeah. Yeah, is there a doctor? Get a doctor over there, please, just in case. Go ahead, hop over there, please. Okay? Good. Thank you very much. Everything good? Okay. Great person. Against overwhelming odds, a small band of Jewish fighters rose up.
It appears that
to
someone
defend
in the
Jewish
crowd
people.
there has had some sort of medical episode, but everything seems to be okay. We're going to get back out to this press conference that Trump is hosting now at the White House.
Just enough to keep the menorah's light burning for one night. They wanted that light to burn just for one night. Yet, as the story goes, that small flame endured for 8 days. Do you know that story? Does everybody know that story? For thousands of years, the miracle of Hanukkah has reminded us of God's love for the Jewish people, as well as their enduring resilience and faith in the face of centuries of persecution. Centuries. And it continues. It continues. Who would believe this could continue? And it sort of started here with schools and universities, and Harmeet's taking care of that situation very strongly in the Department of Justice, right? Who would believe it? But we're grateful to be joined by another reminder of that unbreakable strength, two courageous survivors of the Nazi Holocaust, Jerry Worotsky and Michael Bornstein. Where are they? Where are you guys? Well, you look good. You look better than I do. You look fantastic. Jerry was only 9 years old when the Nazis invaded Poland. He lost both of his parents in the camps, but refused to let their murder defeat him. After the war, he came to New York, where he had an incredibly successful career, became very successful, and became a good friend of Melania and myself. And I want to thank you, Jerry. And that's incredible what took place. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you very much. And Michael Bornstein lost both his father and mother in Auschwitz when he was just a very young man, a toddler actually. Through the love and sacrifice of other family members, he managed to survive and reunite with his mother in later years. They would come to America, where Michael received a scholarship to college and eventually earned a PhD in chemistry and became one of the most brilliant chemists anywhere around. So Michael and Jerry, I want to just thank you. We're honored to have you. This whole group of people are very honored to have you both. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Michael. As President of the United States, I will always support Jewish Americans, and I will always be a friend and a champion to the Jewish people. I have been. And I will say, you know, if you go back 10, 12, 15 years ago at the most, the strongest lobby in Washington was the Jewish lobby. It was Israel. That's no longer true. You have to be very careful. You have a Congress in particular which is becoming anti-Semitic. You have AOC +3. You have those people, Ilhan Omar, she hates Jewish people. And you have to be very careful because there's been a big change. You know, if you go back 15 years ago, I'm not Jewish, but my father was very friendly with many, many Jewish people, was honored by Federation.
All right, so that was President Trump speaking. The beginning of his Hanukkah event got pushed back a little bit. You saw that at the beginning with those mingling in the White House. So we got to see that large crowd, and also him, of course, recognize the victims of the Bondi Beach shooting that both he and Australian officials have now said was anti-Semitic in its motive. So we're going to keep carrying that on our secondary stream if you want to keep watching, because he still has lots to get to in that event. Multiple speakers, I believe, that he will bring up to talk. But here on WCNC Plus, on our main stream, if you stick with us here at 9 p.m., you're going to hear from Nick in just a few minutes, breaking down the Panthers, of course, making their last run for the playoff here. So a really, really exciting couple weeks ahead, hopefully. And then right after that at 9:30, we're going to have the Belmont Christmas Parade. So this is really cool because we're going to have these events throughout the rest of the week until Christmas Day. So stick with us here on WCNC Plus and join Nick in just a few minutes. Thanks for watching.